Ugly fooger connected.
All right, we're live and kind of running a little bit behind here today, but I was really unsure what I was going to teach today. So, what I've decided on teaching you guys today is something that took me forever to figure out, and that is how to put a railroad crossing on the current railroad tracks that are in the game because they don't work. The railroad crossings don't work exactly as planned. A few changes needed to be made to the railroad crossing script. To get the file you'll need, if you go to exclamation point crossing, you can download a railroad crossing with the proper script all ready to go, but definitely need to make some changes to the map, and I got to grab the copy of that file myself. And exclamation point crossing will give you a copy of all the files you need. And it will look something like crossing.zip. There you go. Extract those files. And okay, I'll replace them in the destination because I already have them on my desktop somewhere. Inside there, you will have these files right here is exactly what you need. So what we're going to do is take that crossing file folder that is extracted, copy that, and put it into your map that you're working on, which I will use the map class map for this demonstration. And I'm going to put it in objects, and we'll just put the crossing right in there. The other thing you want to do is take this Lua file, the Zugschranke, Zugschranke, and King Jebel, thanks for the follow. We're going to cut that out, and I'm going to put it in with the rest of your scripts in the map. So let's put that in where you have all your other scripts installed. All right. Once you have that in there, you got to go back to your mod description file and register that script, which you can open your mod description file in Notepad. Scroll down to where you have your source files. I'm going to just copy the line above it because, as you know, you keep all your source files together. Map scripts, and we got to get the Zugschranke Lua. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I can't even remember how to spell it, so let's go back to map scripts, and I'm going to just copy the name and paste it in over this one. And that will register the Lua script needed for the railroad crossing. Next thing we're going to do is go into, let's open up the map and install the railroad crossing. So we got to get to our map i3D file, load that up in your editor. I'm glad you liked the host there, Viper. I figured why not? I wasn't going to be here, and the trip went great. I had a great time at my brother's 50th birthday party, and I had some Not Your Father's root beer, which was really awesome. I had way too much of it. Interestingly enough, my daughter bought it for me, so I guess it was her father's root beer after all. All right. we have our railroad right there. So somewhere on your railroad you need to put, and I'm going to actually click on this here because the railroad that we created previously is kind of short. The spline is kind of short for demo purposes. I'm not going to add the track, but we're going to add some distance. Well, maybe we'll throw a couple pieces of track down here. Why not? Stretch it out so we have some room, and we'll put a few more pieces of track. This isn't the important part. The important part is getting this crazy thing to work. And show you guys how to do it. You should have a train already set. This works on the trains that you have the little trigger boxes for to send. This one here that we're installing does not actually work on the old style trains. There's two different types of crossings. If you have one that doesn't need to be triggered, that's a different crossing in itself. Alright, so basically we're going to pick a point on the track. We'll call it right here, and I'm just going to, we'll make a pretend road. Pretend road goes right through there. Nothing fancy. As a matter of fact, it's kind of messy, but there we have a road, but we need a railroad crossing. So if we go to our folder where we installed, let's find our map class folder here. And under objects, did I put it under objects? Or did I put it under models? Where did I put it? Or did I not put it in here at all? I can't remember where I put it. Let's go back and see where I have it. Objects crossing. It's in there. So let's see. Desktop. Map class, right here. Objects. Did I put it in the map class backup folder that I had? It's the only thing I could think of. Yeah, I did. And I am running the map class backup map. Not a big deal. We'll just put it in here. See that? Alright, so open up your crossing, import it. Too many files on my computer, I tell you. And what you're going to get is this Maneuvergang little object here at the bottom. We're going to right or left control B and click to bring that crossing right over to us. It definitely has to be spun around to 90 degrees, so let's see how we're looking here. Nope. It was there we go. Basically you want to put one on each side of the road. Bring it up out of the ground so that your posts are crossing posts are in the terrain a little bit, and kind of center it up with the track such as that. Now, the one thing about this crossing is these boxes here do not work. They are to detect traffic and stop traffic when it's coming. And with the altered version, it doesn't work, so we're going to move those out of the way, up in the air, get rid of them. But they have to stay there, so you can actually stick them under the terrain wherever you want. And I know I'm not exactly perfectly on the road there, but if you highlight your Maneuvergang, the other important thing you're going to see are two boxes, one on each end, and those are where the train crosses to drop the gate. And that's why I was saying our track is kind of short here. So when the train goes through this box, wherever it went, when it goes through this box, it'll drop the gate or put it up, depending on which direction it's coming through from. And the other one is when it will return it, and that's why I extended the track, because usually they go quite a ways apart. But we can bring it in, no big deal. If our train doesn't go to the end, the gate will stay down. I'm going to take a look real quick at the train spline one more time and see how long we have it. Where is it? Alright, it goes down quite a ways past the track here, so a little longer. Put a little bit more track out there so we can see if we can spread those boxes out just a little bit more. See, the train length is going to be right there as well, so it needs to get all the way through it in order to have the gate go back up. That is the basic setup, and everything that's in the file is actually good. So once that's in, there is still one other major problem, and that is, and I don't know if I know I showed you guys this when we did the train splines, how to import your own custom train, and that is a necessity for this crossing to work. So basically what you need to do, and we already did it in this map, is let's see, model, let's see if I put it in the objects, and then I have the trains. Now the other thing that needs to be done is we need to edit the locomotive train, but one more time I'm going to show you how to put those trains into your map from the standard let's see, the standard in-game maps, Bjornholm or one such as that. So let me open up the File Explorer, and you would go to, let's see, your C drive, Program Files, Farming Simulator 2015, Data, and then your Maps, Models, I think it's in Objects, actually it isn't there. Let me see. I know how to find out. What I need to do is find my train XML file here real quick, and I can't remember exactly where they are, but we still have some default pieces, and they're in Data, Maps, Models, Objects, Train. Okay, so Data, Maps, Models, Objects, and Train. And what you want to do is take the locomotive, open it up, and once that's in your i3D editor, just go to File, Export Selection with Files. Make sure you have the locomotive selected and do it. Export Selection with Files, and create a folder in your map. Mine's in Map, Models, Objects, Trains, and then just export it right in there as locomotive.i3d. I'm not going to overwrite the one I have because I don't need to, but you would type in locomotive.i3d in a folder called trains somewhere in your map and remember where it is. And then just click the save button and it will put it and all the files right where we need to find them. Once you have done that, you will end up with a train folder. Let's see if I can find it here again. Models, objects, trains. And you should see in that folder, and you don't need the whole train, you do need the locomotive. You don't need the whole train, but you need the locomotive copied out of there. Once you have the locomotive, open that back up from your map, not from the other, because we're going to do some editing to it. And it's very simple. Just go to your locomotive and go to rigid body, and I kind of almost forget the numbers here. But you got to clear all these, and let me see. I am going to check real quick on my other map that I was working on. Let's see which one I'm working on here. I got too many copies of this map open. Alright, that's the one we want to keep open. This one here, we're going to close. And excuse me for not writing this down, but it's all the fun stuff that you need to figure out. And we're going to go back to my Pleasant Valley map. Let me see if I can get that up here. I got to cheat. Let's see, models. And like I said, I didn't prepare this because I really didn't know until like 10 minutes before I was supposed to do this what I was going to teach. So, but I had so many problems with this that I figured why not? You guys want to get some railroad crossings that actually work on your map? Let's go with it. I'm opening up the locomotive that's actually in the Pleasant Valley map to show you one quick thing, and that is the rigid body. The collision mask is 12042, or buttons 1, 6, 13, and 16. That's what I needed to know. 1, 6, 13, and 16. We have our locomotive. Highlight it, the whole thing. Rigid body, clear all. 1, 6, was it 1, 6, 13, and 16? I'm terrible with the memory. I should have wrote it down. Yes, it was. And you should get the bit mask of 12042. And what that does is that's what it needs to be set at. And you want to click on your locomotive, make sure it's saved, okay? Once you have your bit mask set, save it. And exit out of your train. Now the other part you're going to need, let's see if I can find this one in the old map class or mod folder. Let's see. Program files, Farming Simulator 2015 data, maps. And you're going to grab this train system.xml file, copy it, and paste it to your folder, which you want to put it right in your base directory of your map folder. We're working on map class backup, right in the base directory. Drop your train system.xml file right in there. Mine's changed a little bit, but what you will see here is all these $data map models, objects, train, locomotive, and that will be copied right into your file. Once you have that, what you need to do is go in and repoint the locomotives to where it is in your map with the directory. So in our class, our map, it's map class, map, models, objects, trains, and then we have our locomotive I3D. So that's what we have here. Map, models, objects, trains, locomotive I3D. The rest of these can stay all the same, or you can bring in and create your own custom trains. And we're just working on the grain train, but make sure your locomotives are pointing to the one that you put into your map. Once you have that done and you save it, you should be able to. Actually, you got one more thing to do, because I'm trying to refresh my memory. In your map class, sample mod map blue, I think we need to point where the trains are. I'm not 100% sure if we did. Let me just double check and see if it was in there. Apparently it... Oh, I know where it was. It was in the XML file for the train itself, or in the map. Let's go into the map editor one more time. Bring that up. Find our train. You can always find everything in the train by clicking on the trigger, and there you have your grain train spline. You need to make sure that this train system.xml, if it's in your base map folder, just change it to train system.xml. You don't need any of the stuff in front of it. If you're going to bury it somewhere else in your file, you're going to have to put the whole file path. But that will tell it to read the train system XML file that's in your map. Once all of that is done, you can save your map. And with any luck, we're going to have to switch over to my map. I got to create a new folder for the map class backup. Let's see, desktop, map class backup. I'm just setting up the mod switcher real quick so I can have a new button to switch very easy. Map class backup folder. Let's run Farming Simulator and see if I screwed everything up. And Sissy Foz, thanks for the follow. Alright, we'll just run a copy of it down here on Save Game 17. Hopefully all works well. I don't know where I left the backup map as far as how well it's working. Alright, you can, if you have your developer tools enabled, you can at this point hit your tilde key and scroll up and make sure you have no errors. And I have failed to open XML file map class backup map mod description version. That's interesting. Failed to open the XML file mod description XML. Let's see what I messed up. That is a definitely needed, and it's probably another copy paste thing that I screwed up as usual. But let's go to the backup map here. Mod description XML. Edit with Notepad. All I did was add an extra source file in, but you know, I should have used the regular map because there's probably something in here that's screwed up from the last time. I want to grab my log file real quick outside and make sure that I'm pointing to the right place. Map class backup vehicles mod description XML. Well, that's because I don't have a mod description XML. Why is it looking for it in the vehicles folder? I have no idea. Let's see what I have in sample mod map Lua. I should have put it in the actual working map because that is weird. Open XML file, desktop map class backup. Map mod description XML here. Which it is not in that folder as well, but I'm going to make it in that folder just to see if we can get through this. Never use your backup that you've been testing things on. Let's see if it runs now. You kind of need the base map thing to run in order for this to work. Whoa, I lost the picture and everything because everything's pointed in the wrong place, so something's out of whack. Let me do a quick copy over to the one that actually works, which won't take long. All I need to do is grab my crossing, copy that, and I'm going to just set it up in the other one. The right folder. Put my crossing in the right map and we should be good to go. Let's open up map. This is the one we've been doing all the work on. So I'm going to just do it real quick this time. Give you you kind of got the idea for everything. I'm going to just stretch out the spline, drop the thing in here real quick, and be on our way. Always work on a copy of a map that actually works. Desktop, map class, map, objects, crossing, open. It's like doing it all over. Rotate that to where you want it. Let's slide it down the track a little bit, even though the track is not there, just so we can get the boxes in here a little bit, past the train. That looks good with that one. The other trigger should be good right about there. Save our train. Come on. Bring in our...
Ugly fooger disconnected.
Let's go to the desktop. I gotta grab that Lua file out of map class backup as well. Zug Shrank, copy that one into our map class, map, scripts, paste, register it one more time in our mod description file, which is right here. Yeah, this one has the water mod installed too. And let me get the name of that. So I know how it's spelled. And just to make things go a little bit quicker, map, objects, models, objects, trains, locomotive. We need to have the locomotive with the proper settings on it, so I'm going to export this into the other map. Make sure that I got the right one. Yep, right collision mask. File, and this is what you would be doing from the other map, the in-game map, or wherever you want to get your train. And we're going to go to map class, map, models, objects, trains, and I'm going to just overwrite this one and replace it so we have everything we need. Now we should be able to open up the map class without any errors, hopefully. It would have been a short show anyway if I finished it up that quick. To career. Let's see if anything pops up. You can see the Zug Shrank script is running just fine, which is always a good thing. Alright, looked pretty clear that time. So we should be able to go over to our train. Whoops, not that button. This button. Get rid of that. Find a vehicle. Well, I guess we'll take the slow tractor. Train's right there. We can see it from here. Now the only question is, where are my triggers on the map? Let's see. We'll open up when we get a little closer. You can see our crossing, but the train may already be in the start trigger. That's what I was afraid of, because it's kind of long. Nope, it's just before it. Alright, so you can see the yellow box. When the train hits that yellow box, it should drop the gates. But we have to go send the train. Now this will be a trick, because I gotta beat the train to the crossing so you can see it with a slow tractor. We should be able to get it. Let's see what happens here. Well, we can always see it on the way back. If it's not working or if it's working. Hopefully it's working. I can see the light lighting up, so the gate is down, but we're kind of far away to see the gate go down. There you go. So that's how you're going to need to install railroad crossings on your trains. And when the train hit the other box on the end is when the gate went back up. Now, here's an interesting thing to make note of. And that is the trigger for the train is on the locomotive itself. So if we go down here and we didn't raise those boxes up, you see those boxes? That's which I did it in. When we raised it up the first time, you got to get those boxes up in the air on this version. But when we go down here or underground where you can't hit them, we only have one locomotive on this train, and you're probably going to want to put the same collision mask on either the last cart, or what I would do is import a locomotive on the opposite end of the train. Once this train comes back, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's going to take its little time down there. Offloading. Come on, train, turn around. What is it, like 30 seconds? Seems like forever when you're waiting. Here it comes. Alright, so what's going to happen is, and I should be down here, the last grain car there is not going to trigger, most likely. Yeah, see, the last grain car doesn't trigger this crossing, but the locomotive does. So if it's far enough away, it doesn't really matter much. But if you want, you can put a locomotive on the other end of your train as well, and your train crossing will go down. And then when it gets back over the other box, it opens it back up. Now, I'm going to jump out here real quick. And it looks to me like this guy, actually, I just noticed something. Let me go into the map class folder. I think this script might have actually put those boxes so that they come down out of the air, which I didn't realize, to stop the traffic from going. It looked like he had them on a mover because I jumped there, if you noticed that, right before I left. Which, if that's the case, that's awesome. If they were up in the air, you can get underneath them and then it drops them down, which is very possible. So let's see if I remembered to put them up in the air. Down here. No, I left them down on the ground. Whoops. So you want to lift these up. I would say let's try putting them right about top of the crossing, because I think they might move. I'm going to go back in the game and see if they move or if they just stay floating where they are. And before we do that, very simply, save your map again. While that is saving, which actually looks like it went pretty fast, we'll go into our train system XML file, and in order to put a train on the here, and I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit by taking out a couple of the middle cars here so we have more room on the end of our train. And basically you would just take your first locomotive car and you can put one right at the other end of your train, like so. And I'm not even in the right train system XML file. Or am I? We need to load the map. I'm loading the in-game one and it worked. That is weird. Our trains, da-dum-dum, because I got 2 copies of Train System XML probably in here. Yes, I do. This is the one that's actually running. take a few cars out. Put your train on the end. And thanks for the follow, whoever that was. I kind of missed it. But thank you very much for the follow. And there you go. So we have the train locomotive on both ends of the train now. And a much shorter train, so we can test this out a little bit. Let's bring that back up. I wanted to just check one thing while we're here, before we wrap up the class today. Kind of running out of, while we're doing this, I'm pretty sure Big Daddy won't be doing a class tonight. He's kind of at a loss for now. He's going to skip tonight's class after this. And on Friday we will be back, but I think that, well, we'll see if I can come up with something for Friday's map class. You guys have any ideas, send me ideas in the forums. We've covered so many things now that you should be able to, if you review all the videos, do just about anything on your map, because they all use several things. But at this point I'm not ready to get into installing the soil mod or anything like that, because that'll be quite a stretch, and I've got so much going on trying to get our map finished for the map class. I mean for the mod contest. Yeah, see, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But what we can do is we'll throw something together for Friday, and then at Friday at 9 p.m. we do have the preview. We're going to be back on the Pleasant Valley version 2, which has a lot of new features in it, which you'll have to, that I just last minute additions, so you're going to want to check that out. It's going to be pretty close to the final release version of that map, this week's preview. Other than a couple tweaks, plan is to have that done by Friday, so that all I have to do is make a nice PDA file and get that ready for you guys. But I have made quite a few changes there. I wanted to check here is, where are those yellow boxes? There they are floating. You're probably going to want to raise them up a little higher so bigger vehicles don't get stuck on them. But I wanted to put them where I could see them, so if I can see if they move when when the train comes down through. So yeah, definitely 9 o'clock on Friday we will be doing the preview, and it should be a really good one again. And Saturday we will do the throwback class on Pleasant Valley version 3, I think we're up to. A flashback. Throwback, flashback. So, and I will have another map class. I've got a couple ideas for that one. So basically my boxes did move. My collision boxes went underground, it looks like. So if they're placed at a proper height, it probably comes down, and let's watch it when it goes back up, and will block the traffic. Or do they just disappear? They just disappear. Which they're kind of backwards, so they do have to be removed out of the way. If they they'll stop the traffic when the traffic's not supposed to stop. They're kind of working a little bit backwards. But there you have it. Your working little train. Alright, so now that we have an engine on both sides, when it hits the box on the either way it's coming, and I'll put that on one more time, the collision box, and if you look in the distance, well actually you'll be able to see, I'll kind of get it halfway in between here. When the train hits that box, that gate should start moving. The front of the train, now that we have engines on both ends. Any questions I can answer before we go? That's we're just about gonna wrap it up today, and we'll be back on Friday. What I was gonna do is show you possibly how to integrate mods into with your map. So if you wanted, which is something I'm doing with PV2 as well, so several of the mods that we required separately will now be built into the map. Here comes a train. The engine hits the box and triggers a railroad crossing right away now that we have engines on both ends. And then when it hits the box on the other end, it'll go back up when the second engine hits the box. So, pretty cool how it detects that. You can see it's still down until that second engine hits that yellow. There we go, and it's back up. That's going to be pretty much it. So join us on Friday for the map preview, and I guess Friday we'll teach you how to integrate a couple mods built into your map. I was thinking about doing the wool pallet collector with that as well, so you guys can get a wool pallet collector and scale it and size it to whatever size you need. And that's also on Marhu's site. If you need the train crossing again, !crossing will get you the zip file with all the files you need. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.